All right, well, welcome to the Elevated Entertainment Podcast. I'm Connor Grubbs.
I'm Mac.
And I'm Austin.
Hi, Austin.
I'm stage fright.
You're stage fright?
No. Stage fright. I'm Connor Grubbs.
Well, we're here. We're finally. I'm just glad to be doing stuff again in the with Elevated Entertainment with movie stuff. I like talking about movies.
Glad to be here.
Hopefully this looks and sounds better this week. We're just going to keep improving. It's going to be a slow process, but look, if you like talking about movies, then...
Thanks for watching,
yeah.
Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Mac's mom. Yeah. We're here.
So today, we're taking a pessimistic view of things.
We're going to talk about why movies suck.
Not just movies. Movies today.
Movies. Okay. Why movies today suck. Yeah. But not all of them suck.
No. So, but I think just generally like the state of
the stigma
of today's film industry, like where we're at, right? Yeah. Like why?
Well, to me, I like more movies that are like pre the 2000s than I do post the 2000s.
Okay.
Not all the movies.
Not all the movies. There's a lot of actually really good movies. Some of my favorite movies are post the 2000s, but the majority of them are not that great. But I feel like movies have always been they've always had problem childs.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, look, I know you even have notes. You're prepared to...
Austin's the most prepared of us all.
Tell everybody why.
I want to tell everybody why.
But I think a good preface is that, like, I always think of the conversation, the interview where Martin Scorsese talked about how, like, superhero films are, like, amusement park rides. And the thing that I thought was interesting about I think the thing that I thought was interesting about that is that amusement park rides are not void of value. They're just not cinema. They're just for entertainment. Like they're not necessarily pieces of art.
Does every movie have to be a piece of
they're
art?
more of products for us to consume. So when I think of Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that, honestly, a lot of times I enjoy them. Does that mean they're good cinema?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk is like, not everything that's released is cinema. Like a lot of it's just content, which is fine because content's entertaining. I watch YouTube.
Services.
Yeah, I watch
Netflix,
yeah.
Hulu. You'll find a lot of content.
Netflix has a lot of originals that are pretty decent. Like what was it? Devil All the Time. Like that was solid.
I haven't seen it yet.
That was
solid film. Yeah,
that's Tom Holland, right?
And the guy that played it. What's his name?
Bill Skarsgård.
Yes. Yeah.
It was a good movie. It was a good
Right.
time.
So I mean, there's spaces right out there for some of the more lesser known, like kind of independent films, but it seems to be less and less so the big screen.
Right. But there's also a stigma with the independent films.
Yeah.
That they're weird, art housey, like you can't understand them.
Like Green Knight, for example. Like that movie, me and my family went, and I think I was the only one that liked it.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate like weird stuff like that in art.
Right, but it doesn't have to be weird to be independent. Because like Devil at the Time, I feel like was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But it's not. To me, there's like art movies, and then there's like popcorn movies. A popcorn movie is like a movie you can munch popcorn, watch it, and like you're not gonna go see some like super dramatic, like you're not gonna go watch Minari and like eat popcorn.
I'm not gonna go watch anything and eat popcorn. I don't like popcorn.
Well, you know what I mean.
Why are you on the podcast?
Yeah. I know he was really offended when he learned that I don't like popcorn the other day.
We
I'm offended.
We have like an art to making popcorn.
Maybe
you gotta have our popcorn.
Episodes is gonna be about how to make popcorn.
We'll have different types of popcorn.
That has to do with movies.
Yeah,
it's popcorn.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, but there is a stigma. Like I was thinking about like really good movies. And a lot of them are like Oscar-worthy movies, but there's a stigma with those in the sense of like they're boring. Like I watched the trailer for Minari, which I don't know if you remember that one, but that was one of the Oscar-nominated movies.
Mm-hmm.
That was about like an immigrant family whose farm burned down. I'm like, I just don't want to watch that. Like it just doesn't look entertaining.
I'm sure there's like
it's good, like
nice little story, but like that doesn't sound. That's where the.
And then that's where the popcorn movie come in, like, Ant-Man.
That's where the so what?
I forgot everything about Ant-Man, but It was fun when I saw it.
That's where the so what question comes
in. Cinematic movie. I would just say it was a content, but it was entertaining. Like you said about Star Wars, Marvel.
Yeah, and I think because I mean we talked about Spider-Man last week, right?
Yeah.
And
Spider-Man is art.
We're gonna talk about it a lot when it comes out, right? Well, I mean the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Yes, Sam Raimi
trilogy is art.
The first two movies in the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Third one's interesting. We'll do
but
a
anyway,
podcast on Spider-Man 3.
And like, bro, I mean, I was geeking out all of Avengers Endgame. Like, I that was a great experience for me.
Yeah,
actually,
and that's how movies are meant to be experienced. Like, that's where like you go to the theater and everybody's screaming at the screen and having a good time. Like, that's fun. You know, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece of cinema because sometimes in those movies, I almost want to watch them by myself and just experience it for what it is and focus on the story.
But sometimes, like, I thought Joker was really good, but that was a movie where you like to see it with people too, because there was like the shock, like at the end. I don't know if have you seen Joker?
Yeah, I see it with Billy or Ryan. I saw it with somebody.
Well, with the ending, like when I was in the theater, it like got really tense. Like you could feel it. And people were like, I'm like, oh, this is a good experience.
No, and it's a part. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like,
There's
that
one
was
scene
fun.
where you're just like, because it's not. Yeah, no, it's weird because like. There's nothing inherently wrong with the popcorn, kind
a lot
of
my favorite movies are
kind of goofy flicks, right? There's nothing wrong with that. They can be a lot of fun. But that's what sells, right? And so a lot of really great pieces of cinema, like true cinema, kind of get sidelined. Yeah. In the process.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, superhero movies or popcorn flicks, as Scorsese calls it.
Yes.
They were awesome. They were very fun, like starting with Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they're all really fun. But there's, like, a point where it's like, now I'm at the point where when a superhero movie comes out, I'm like, so what?
Well, they're almost parodying themselves now. Because now you have movies and shows like The Boys, Suicide Squad.
Well, they're all the same.
Brightburn.
And the fact
make fun of the superhero genre entirely.
That they all start the same, Here's our guy. He goes through this journey to fight this bad guy.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
90% of them are like that.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy I like because it's more about the vibe and the fun. Like, it's fun. Yeah. It's just a great movie. They worked a little story in it.
It was a girl
Don't even get me started.
That got blew up by a generator to fight Skrulls that were actually the good guy.
They could have done great stuff with Captain Marvel. Anyways, that's my viewpoint.
Yeah, no. And I think especially because you look at like we were talking about. This wasn't even on air. I don't think. I think this, or maybe it was. You were talking about Apocalypse Now and like the making of that and kind of.
I think that was off air.
That might have been off air. But you're talking about like just like. Sometimes knowing the behind the scenes of a film, you're just like, whoa, like you appreciate the filmmaking effort.
That's probably why I like that film so much, is the BTS.
Well, for me, like the behind the scenes stuff on Iron Man, like they had a very limited budget.
Yep.
They had a very limited amount of time. Most of the dialogue was ad-libbed. They were kind of writing the script as they went. And Jon Favreau is somebody who really like loves, the original character and the comic. So it's like, this is actually a filmmaker making a movie that he wants to make. And he created a great movie. Like Iron Man, the very first Iron Man is an awesome movie. And that was before we were burnt out on that formula.
Well, that's what started it.
Marvel just copied and pasted that formula. You look at Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, all of the origin story movies. It's literally just Iron Man with a different character.
I think what separates a cinematic movie from a not cinematic movie, and cinematic movies can be popcorn movies. For example, one of my favorite
Fast
movies...
and Furious.
I haven't seen Fast. I can't speak on it. Maybe the first one. Gremlins is one of my favorite movies, and it's a popcorn movie, and it's a good movie, like a cinematic movie. But to me, what separates the two is a cinematic movie is helmed by either a writer-director or both, or like someone who does that role, and they're helming their idea. Like, it's someone's creative idea, they're forming it, they're making it into what they want. Whereas movies that I just call content movies are ones that are made by like a committee, like a boardroom, or like I don't know if you've seen on YouTube these like bots that make scripts. Have you seen this? It's actually pretty funny. Like they make the bots watch like all the Harry Potter movies or all the Star Wars, and then they make their own script. and that's what a lot of the movies feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking like
I'm pretty sure Rise of Skywalker was a bot script.
It was a bot script. That was 100%. One of the movies I wanted to talk about today. But like in terms of bots, or maybe it's not even a bot script, but you just think about like who wants to make this. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like Ant-Man. Who was like, I want to make Ant-Man?
You know, fun fact
there
about
was no
that.
Jon Favreau that wanted.
No, you know who wanted to make Ant-Man originally? He ended up backing away from it because they were telling him, no, you have to do this, this, and this to fit into the wider franchise. But I would have loved to have seen this as just like a solo one-off movie. Edgar Wright wanted to make Ant-Man, and he was on board to do it.
He would have done that well with his visual comedy.
That probably would have been a cinematic movie versus Ant-Man, which I didn't hate Ant-Man, but it was just.
It was just Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
I like Paul Rudd, but I wouldn't call that a cinematic movie.
No, but and I was thinking about this, like, you know, it's the fact that they are building this overarching, like, you know, storyline that honestly, I hate to say it, like the Spider-Man movie that's going to be exciting. That's pretty much it for me. I don't know what else you could do that would get me back out to a theater like stoked for a Marvel movie, because Endgame was the payoff, right?
For sure, yeah.
You can't repeat that.
That's the end.
You can't repeat
Endgame.
And it wrapped it up so perfectly.
Yep.
Like, it was really, like, it satisfied a lot of storyline. Like, I was very impressed with how they did that in that film.
Yeah, it was very well executed.
But that's it. Like, what, you can't repeat
Just
that.
Stop.
You can never do that again. And they'll try, but, like, you can't.
Well, it's because half the universe was snapped out of existence. So what's the stake that's going to be larger than that?
Right, exactly.
Nothing. Unless it's the whole universe.
So, I just think about certain characters. Like, one of them is the Hulk. Or, like, there's certain comic book characters even that I'm like, man, if you gave, like, a really good director this character, right, and just let them make their own movie. Wasn't attached to a franchise. It wasn't to set up any sequels. They were just making one movie about this character, and they were allowed to do whatever they wanted with it. What would we get? You know, what will we get out of the Hulk, or what will we get out of an Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie? Like, probably something really different and unique.
Right. That's why I think the Sam Raimi's did well.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy wasn't connected to anything
else,
right?
Yeah.
Even Joker.
Yeah, even Joker is like, oh, we're just gonna make this movie, right? And so. And maybe we'll get that with the new Batman, Matt Reeves. I don't know, but
I've heard good things so far.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. But I think, you know, Marvel doesn't like. DC can kind of do that because they never really successfully launched like a connected franchise, so now they're just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah.
But Marvel's really locked into this connected universe thing, and I think unfortunately it limits it to what. Kind of storylines and films we can get,
it has to tie back into
even
what
out
we
of the
already
superhero
know.
genre.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of sad.
Sad, big sad. I need to talk about Rise of Skywalker.
Well, I wanted to go back to your Gremlins thing.
Right.
You said Gremlins is a popcorn film, but like, it has a good story and a good message in it.
But what I mean is, like, it's not, to me, like, when you think of like an Oscar bait movie, because Gremlins was nominated for an Oscar, but when you think about
it was just
Oscar
a fun movie,
it's like it has some kind of like social political theme in it. It has some kind of it's kind of hard. It's about like a struggling mom or something. Gremlins is about little monsters that terrorize the city.
Okay, so before we get into Rise of Skywalker, though, do the Oscars really mean anything? Does that mean it's a good movie?
No, I just mean in terms of like the idea of an Oscar-worthy film.
Sure, no, I get
like
what you're
Scorsese,
saying, but I think
Tarantino movie.
And sure, and there've been some phenomenal films that have won Oscars, right?
Yeah.
But is that like a criteria?
Well, here's what all I'm gonna say, and this is gonna answer the conversation. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Toni Collette did not even get nominated for Hereditary in 2017.
He hasn't seen Hereditary.
Oh my God. But her performance was the best performance I've probably ever seen out of any actor in that movie.
Yeah.
Not even a nomination. Like, nobody even acknowledged her for that. So I disqualify. Yeah, I disqualify Oscars.
But I do look at them to see what because there's a big gap, and I would like to do a whole episode on the Oscars and what that means.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a lot of times there's movies that are nominated or for stuff that like.
Well, because there's some never heard of.
Well, movies you never heard, but also sometimes movies are nominated because they had a certain political message and they want to say, "Oh, look, we're socially." And I look at the movies and I'm like, I loved Hidden Figures. I don't think it deserved a Best Picture nomination. Like, it is a good movie. I like, historical films. Like, my wife really likes math and space, so we watch that movie and we enjoy it, right? Black Panther. I really liked Black Panther. There was a lot that was good about it. It did not deserve a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay, but
especially when Iron Man didn't.
Right. Like, I'm thinking of other Marvel movies, and I'm like, way more deserved it than Black Panther.
Right.
Again, Black Panther was great. But
yeah,
there's
it was
a lot
great.
of clunky stuff in there, and especially the last 30 minutes of
and try to wrap it all up.
PS2 CGI fight and
yes.
Like the first half felt like something that was helmed by a creative team.
Yeah.
Who wanted to tell the story, and then the last 30 minutes, like you said, is like Marvel being like, put in a fight scene.
Well, what is the Oscars? It's a show.
Yeah.
And they have to get ratings, so
Yeah.
they're gonna do what people are gonna go watch when,
So y'all remember the Moonlight La La Land fiasco?
Yes.
There's no way that mistake was made.
No.
All those years of the Oscars, and they never had that problem. That was totally intentional.
Ratings
to get people talking about the Oscars.
Oh,
that was a good
everybody was talking after that.
Yeah.
That's why even like with their controversy about we can't find a host. I'm pretty sure that's they can find a host.
Yeah.
So many
But Kevin
people.
Hart said he didn't want his son to be gay, so they were like, "You should want your son to be gay, Kevin Hart.
You're not hosting the Oscars, man."
Wow. I didn't even hear about that.
He had some old tweet.
Yeah, it was some old tweet.
It was kind of, it was a little edgy, maybe sound a little homophobic. It was some joke about how he was trying to keep his son away from whatever.
You stay away from the gay.
That's how Kevin Hart talks.
Yes, like an old
and
Korean
so
man.
they pulled up that tweet from years ago, and they're like, "You can't host the Oscars. We're gonna have a robot host the Oscars."
Nice.
I would love to see a robot host the Oscars.
Well, we get to see it every year. So
and the award goes to. Just says it.
Okay, so there are a lot of great films that maybe even get overlooked by the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love
100%.
Parasite. I wanted to talk about Parasite because that was my favorite movie of the last 10 years, and that won all the Oscars.
Yeah.
So sometimes it works. Sometimes I agree.
Yeah.
But Parasite was a movie that had the storytelling, it had the message that the Oscars is looking for, but it also had the entertainment value that I like, and a good story, and it was a good thriller,
and a good twist.
And a very well done movie too, and just in terms of lighting, directing,
everything,
sound design, all of that.
It was almost a perfect movie, basically.
It was like a perfect.
I didn't have any gripes.
Did Human Shrek make an appearance?
There was a scene with that Bong Joon-ho added in post of Shrek in the background of the house. Yeah.
So, the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
I need to talk about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get it out.
I actually want to do an episode. I was thinking because
have you been able to prove that it's a bot script?
No, but I'm pretty sure
feels
that
like a bot
Kathleen
script.
Kennedy is a bot.
Yeah.
No.
Can I just? I don't know what you're about to say, but I just
say what you will.
very briefly about the whole sequel trilogy. That is the most reactionary trilogy I have ever seen. So they made Force Awakens as a reaction to the prequels, right? Oh, they didn't like the prequels. We got to go back to formula. Let's just do A New Hope again, right? Introduce some new characters,
which I think actually worked. I liked it.
It was a good job.
Yeah, I actually
even though it's not in they took from the old thing, I still think it worked for what they were trying to do.
It was a good way to kind of soft reboot. Let's introduce this to a new generation, and there's some great moments in that movie. I actually enjoyed it. Last Jedi, they're like, oh, everybody complained because Force Awakens was just like A New Hope. Let's just throw out all the storylines we set up in Force Awakens.
Bye JJ.
And honestly, at first, the first time I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? As it's grown on me over time. There's actually there's a bunch of subplots in the movie that stink, but a lot of the stuff they did with Luke Skywalker I actually really like. And
if you took all the subplots out, it'd be a way better movie.
If it was just Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren, so a lot of good stuff in that movie, right? And then Rise of Skywalker was everybody was so mad about Last Jedi. Let's bring J.J. Abrams back, and just ignore that movie and make a sequel to Force Awakens and wrap up 9 films.
And they got rid of all their bad guys. So
what are you like? And also that one was ignoring all of the themes that I thought Last Jedi set up about it doesn't matter, anybody can use kind of this. They should have stuck with the idea that Rey was a nobody. I really liked that idea. And then they're just like, nope, Palpatine got funky. And that must have happened, if you do the math, sometime around the prequel trilogy. So I don't even want to think about it.
Unless he like a sponge, like Buds. little
Yeah.
palpitations
So
come off
all
his
that being
body.
said, it's just a very reactionary trilogy, and you feel that as you're watching.
Yeah,
It doesn't
sad.
feel like a cohesive trilogy where, like, Lord of the Rings, Dark Knight, like, they kind of had a storyline mapped out. Like, some of the greatest trilogies we know, they knew where it was going. They did not know where this was going, and it shows.
And that just shows a problem with, like, a lot of franchise films in general now, is and that one especially, it didn't show any kind of planning or care. And to me, when the filmmakers don't care, why should I?
Right.
Because you get to the final movie, Rise of Skywalker, which I want to do a whole episode on Star Wars. Like,
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe for Star Wars Day or whatever. But Rise of Skywalker, to me, was the worst Star Wars I've ever seen. And to me, that movie was just like, no one cared about it. The script was lazy.
I don't know that I can say it's worse than Phantom Menace. It might be, like, on par.
It's on par with Phantom Menace, and that's pretty bad.
When you say the filmmakers don't care, I think the story side of it, they don't care. Because that was probably one of the best looking Star Wars. Like,
yeah.
the film they used, everything, like the lenses. JJ is good at producing a good team to make a movie.
I can't knock JJ in the visuals.
Don't give him a script and don't let him direct. Like,
no, don't let him write it.
Yeah, just let him produce the team in the movie. Yeah. Just get a good writing team. Yeah,
that was their big problem. And by the end of it, you could tell, like, they don't know what they're doing.
No,
they
don't. And Ray is just the Susie Q or whatever that. Mary Sue. That's what it. Susie Q. But like, they explained her powers because of Palpatine. Like, even Luke Skywalker, whose father is Darth Vader, had to train.
Yeah.
For how many movies was it? Like, the first one was like all about him training. Like,
Rise of Skywalker is really bad.
It's all bad.
That gets into another problem with, like, characters. Making a character, like, have one little quirk and you have to like them then. Like, like for Rey, it was that she's a girl.
She's
Luke Skywalker. She's a girl.
Yeah.
We don't have to give her any character because she's a girl. If you don't like her, then you're sexist or whatever they want to tell you. And to me, like,
you can't dislike Finn.
Right. You can't dislike
why
Finn.
not?
No, but
why not?
Answer the question.
But that was a storyline that I feel like they had so much potential of, like, a stormtrooper that
like,
I actually think that should have been
defected.
The whole movie.
That's the coolest thing.
He could have been the main character of the whole trilogy, and maybe
that was like the first 10 minutes. They wrap it up, and never talk about it.
Then if you have, like, some female Jedi over here, like, okay, so hear me out. What if you really focused on Finn in that trilogy? We should stop because this is a Star Wars episode.
This isn't a Star Wars.
I was just using Star Wars as a point for my movie.
So go ahead and make your point because I was about to go into, like, a whole rewrite of the trilogy.
Okay, well, let's save that for a different podcast.
Yeah, because it's good. It's a good rewrite.
I'm excited to hear it. I have a rewrite too, which we'll go into, I'm sure. But my thing was just saying that because they didn't care about the story and because the filmmakers behind it didn't really have a goal in mind, they're just like, whatever people want to watch. That's what a lot of movies are now. What do people want to see? I want to see what you had in mind to tell your story. Yeah. And when you have, like, just some message that you're just trying to get around and push, to me that loses a lot of credibility too because you're not fleshing out a narrative. It's just, I want to tell you this. Like, buy more pens. Here's a movie where a guy buys a pen the whole movie. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
I'm going to start writing that.
Yeah, right, yeah. Well, I saw this movie, probably one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Black Christmas, which is a horror movie. It was a remake.
That's worse than Wonder Woman 84?
Yes.
Wow.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like, I would actually have to watch it with you guys because it's so bad. But it's not even entertainingly bad. It's just bad.
That sucks.
Because there's an original Black Christmas, which is a 1970s horror movie, which is one of my favorite slashers, and then you have one that came out in 2005, which is a remake. This one's a new one, and this one had that, like, the feminist, like, we're all girls, and we're gonna fight the bad killers, and it was so, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a generic story, but then it had that, but everything was on the nose. Like, every scene they were talking about, you're just depressing, and I don't know, the whole movie felt like you're just shoving this in our face.
Yeah.
And I hate stuff like that, man, because, like, especially if you look at the horror genre in particular, like, there've always been, like, strong women in those films. But when it's good, it doesn't feel forced, right? It's not like we're trying to show something. But, like, the original Halloween, like James Cameron, Alien. Like you have
Strong
Kill Bill.
leads.
Yeah,
That's the best.
there's like a bunch of examples before like today's era of like strong female leads that it feels real, right? It's not like you're trying to shove some sort of message or agenda. It just is what it is, and that's what good storytelling is.
Right, and it doesn't mean that you can hate the message of the movie and still enjoy the movie, or vice versa. Like, because there's some movies I've watched, I'm like, I don't really agree with what they're pushing, but I like the movie. Or I agree with what they're pushing, but I don't like this movie because it sucks. And nowadays, you're getting into where, you have to like the movie, because if you don't, you're against what we're trying to say. No, it's just a sucky movie.
No, you're a racist, misogynistic pig.
Yeah, right, because I didn't like a Star Wars movie with a girl in it and a black stormtrooper. Like, that's the problem. And you have to, like, just look at it from an art standpoint of saying, I like this piece of work, or I don't.
Yeah.
You know, like, one of my favorite movies of the last, I don't know how many years, just one of my favorites is Get Out, which I think is another example of a movie that was helmed by a creative person, Jordan Peele, own script, own directing. He had a vision for it, you can tell the whole time. It had a message in it that I actually thought was a good message, and he did it in a really cohesive, well-done way.
Yeah.
But other people can do that, and if they don't have that level of passion for it, then it's going to fail.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a movie soulless, is when there's no passion behind it. And you can feel it in some corporate studio, like Fast and Furious. Like, I don't really care to see a new Fast and Furious because I can tell they don't care.
I would say that for the new ones. The old ones.
I mean, I can't. I haven't seen any Fast and Furious.
The new ones that I don't. I'm a car guy, and I don't even want to go watch that piece of garbage.
You don't want to go on a grappling hook car?
Yeah, it's like totally unrealistic.
You see Vin Diesel pick up a Ferrari with one arm.
Yeah.
At Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So movies suck.
Yeah. Movies suck.
What do we do about it?
How do we make movies better? Well, here's the
problem. How do we make movies great again?
I'll say maybe you can piggyback off this, because this kind of goes into the business angle of movies, which I know Austin knows about. But movies are three things to me. First and foremost, they're entertainment. Then they're art, and then they're a business. The guys who produce and fund the movies, the studios, all they care about is the business, because they just want to make the money, which is understandable. It's like gambling or placing a bet, or the stock market. Would you feel comfortable in placing your stock in Google, Walmart, or Billy Bob's Graham Crackers?
Yeah, and they all have like a little computerized Don Cheadle helping them decide what's popular.
Right, and they want to go with, why would I invest my money in this independent art house movie
when I could have LeBron James
when I could have LeBron James as Batman, or Space Jam 6?
Exactly.
Because you know people are going to show up. So really, to me, you're never going to change. As long as the movies keep making money, they're going to keep cranking them out until they don't. So the only way is for us,
to boycott
the viewers, to just not see movies that we think look stupid. But so many times I've seen people go, oh my gosh, this movie looks so dumb, but it's Batman. I love Batman. I gotta go see it. What about just you don't, because it looks terrible? Or, I don't know, the new Wonder Woman looks terrible. I didn't go see it, because...
You didn't see it?
No, I never saw it. I just watched memes of it. I do want to watch it now, but for a different reason.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Or because I work at the movies, so I can tell when movies get crowded, and it's always ones that have a licensed intellectual property and IP to it.
Yeah.
Like Space Jam, anything Marvel, anything Disney, anything Star Wars, if it's a new Pixar movie.
So we should support
movies that look different and creative, and that's how you're going to see
more
of those.
Dismissed.
Like dismissedmovie.com.
I'm going to drop a link if you want to donate.
Like Killer Miller.
Yes.
But seriously, there was something I was kind of wondering, is can you guys think of any practical ways that people can maybe find and support local, because you got people from wherever that are watching this, local filmmakers and the local filmmaking scene.
Well, it depends, because some local films suck.
Right.
Actually, most local films suck.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the resources.
Or they... so much. We can make a whole nother thing.
A whole thing on
that's a whole nother episode.
But going back to what you're saying about these studios funding these movies, I don't want to get off your topic, but
go.
there's a distribution company called A24. They pick up indie films all the time, and they give them the distribution. Like, half their movies are all independent.
What's a movie that Connor might know that was an A24 movie?
Hereditary.
The Disaster Artist?
I love the Disaster
Uncut
Artist.
Gems, Hereditary.
Those are
Green
movies
Knight.
that have a passion.
I haven't seen Green Knight
They
yet.
all. Oh, what was that one? It Comes at Night.
Yep.
That was
a
A24.
creepy one.
They all have the same vibe almost. Like,
Right.
you could put them in their own A24 universe. But
so they're just cranking out indie as a product.
and they work.
Yeah.
They find the
Now
good.
They found their audience.
They find the good indies. Let's say
Yeah.
that. Like, I haven't seen
As
a bad
weird as some of them
A24
are,
film.
Like
Yeah.
Midsummer or The Lighthouse.
There's
Just-
Good Time with Robert Pattinson
Right.
and the one director that directed Uncut Gems.
Okay.
He's in it.
Uncut Gems was good.
Good Time is like a concept to Uncut Gems, like, because it's the same director.
Okay.
But if you watch that, you're like, oh, I can totally see his vision in Uncut Gems.
Right.
Like, same thing. But yeah, like, A24 is doing a really good job getting original ideas out there. Like, so I'm anytime A24 puts out something, I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
So my advice to people listening is don't be a sheeple. What I mean is, don't go see a movie just because everybody else wants to see it if you don't really want to see it. Now, if you want to see it, like, I want to see the new Spider-Man.
yeah.
I know most people do. I don't really care.
I just want to see
the
Tobey
Spider-Man.
Maguire.
What I did
I
want
think-
to see
I think
is
that
Fast
movie's
and
actually-
Furious, and everyone said they wanted to go see it, and I didn't give them
No.
two hoots.
So I used to go see those movies with one of my brothers. Like, really loves the Fast and Furious movies. I
Yeah.
don't understand how anybody could love it. I used to go see those with him, but
I like the OG.
I don't. I stopped probably at 7. I was just like, I
Really?
can't do this anymore. And every time I see a trailer, I'm just like, wow.
I think the third or fourth one's like
Well, and
the
that
only
just,
ones
and
I
that just
like.
goes for anything. Like, find
Yeah.
the things that you are passionate. Like, I really want to see the new Halloween movie because I thought the last one was really well done.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just gonna get you in the soft spot. Like, I've seen like every movie with Michael Myers in it, and I will. Like, they can make Halloween like 400, and I'd probably still go see it, and it'd probably be in space, and it would suck, and I'd still probably watch it. But not every franchise is like that, and I feel like so many people now are like, well, I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, I love Harry Potter, I love Disney, I love Pixar, I love this. I'm like, well, you just like everything that everybody else likes. There's some originality with what you like. Like, I like thrillers, so I'll go check out an independent thriller. Find an independent superhero movie. Find an independent, branch out, see something different.
And there's a really cool place to do that. It's called Greenlight Cinema in St. Pete. They play indie stuff all the time.
Right.
They probably have one theater that plays like big Hollywood stuff, but like everything there is all independent. Like something you'll never hear of.
That's cool. Yeah, I heard when that was opening. I haven't been yet though.
Yeah.
Right. Or
cool.
go on like to your streaming service or Amazon Prime and go find a movie that you wouldn't normally watch and just give it a shot.
Yeah.
Or pick one that's in your genre. Like, I like horror movies. I go find like an obscure horror movie that I've never seen before and then just watch it. Maybe it's good, maybe it sucks. It's only an hour and a half usually, so you're not going to waste too much of your time.
I did that. What was it?
And sometimes you find it really good. Like, I watched this movie Parents
Yes.
with Randy Quaid, who is in the Vacation movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, horror movie Randy Quaid, hour and 20 minutes? Okay. I loved it. Sometimes I watch them, I'm like, oh, this one sucks. I'll move on to the next one. But
Velocipaster.
Oh my god.
That one's worth a watch.
Lamageddon.
Yeah.
I could go on.
We could do a whole
Killer
episode on B
Sofa.
movies.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But
the point is,
the point is, pick stuff that you are passionate to see.
Yeah.
And the people who like and want to make passionate stuff behind that, you'll find those.
Yeah.
Movie makers.
Yeah.
Because they're out there.
Yeah.
And that's not to discredit all Marvel, Star Wars, because all of those started with passion.
Sure.
George Lucas and Jon Favreau when he made Chef. Like, you just gotta. Sorry, I just had to bring up Chef.
Have you seen Chef?
No, it's just a meme online.
It's actually a really good movie.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
The thing that I like about it is it's.
I love that we're gonna talk about Chef.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You guys bring up any movie, and I just want to talk about that movie,
We'll
but
talk
that's
about
like
Chef.
that's not what the episode's about. But like honestly, Jon Favreau was making that about and I think this fits with our conversation about Disney's interference with Iron Man 2 and how the studio executives, because when he made Iron Man, Disney hadn't bought Marvel yet. But when he made Iron Man 2, Disney now owned Marvel, and that movie's not as good as the first one.
Right.
Disney came in and were like, you have to throw this in. You have to set this up for Avengers. You have to make sure Nick Fury. You got to make sure Scarlett Johansson. You got to throw all this stuff in. That he was like, that's not like what I was. And so,
that's what happened with Spider-Man 3.
Chef is about this like cook who just loves what he does. And the owner of the restaurant starts like asking him to kind of compromise and cut corners and do things, and so he just goes and opens a food truck instead because he wants to be able to pursue his passion without that kind of oversight.
Yep.
And so
literally, Chef is the food truck.
Yeah,
the movie Chef is like Jon Favreau's food truck of him doing what he wants.
It's him saying that's Disney funny. Made me sad.
And then he did The Mandalorian.
And then
redeemed.
And then he made The Lion King.
I think he had a lot more.
And The Jungle Book.
He had more creative freedom with Mandalorian.
Right.
And Mandalorian, I like Mandalorian.
Give those directors.
And I think with like The Lion King and The Jungle Book and stuff like that, for him it's probably fun because he loves special effects and like the tech. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like I'm gonna. but seriously, like I don't necessarily criticize him for that because he's like I'm gonna get paid and he likes messing around with the special effects. Right. Like he's always loved like that aspect of it.
And when they offer you like, oh, you want $60 million to CGI a lion?
Yeah,
and not do anything, and just go, go CGI that lion.
Just take the movie and CGI it.
Both of those movies, Jungle Book and Lion King, actually did some pretty groundbreaking stuff with that technology.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed Jungle Book.
It's just used in a really crappy context. It would be great to see that used in like maybe
like an original idea. Yeah.
Right.
That'd be crazy.
Maybe Jon Favreau should start his own studio.
Yes.
I like Jon Favreau. He's made some
or
stuff.
Pair up with like Tyler Perry since he's already got. That'd be such a weird combo.
Jon Favreau and Tyler Perry. I don't.
But like Tyler Perry's got the studio.
Yeah, but he makes some really crappy movies.
He does.
I want to see an animated Medea movie that's all used like the CGI with the Lion King.
It's photorealistic, but it's all CGI.
Really disturbing. That sounds horrifying.
That'd be scary.
That's why you want to watch
it. Do we have anything else to say about why films suck?
Films don't suck. But if
all movies are terrible.
One note we kind of didn't go. Well, we kind of we touched on everything except for I was talking to you about like Hollywood isn't intelligent anymore. That kind of goes with the popcorn films and why they're popular. Like think about like we haven't back then we had 2001: A Space Odyssey come out and like that's a movie where you had to like kind of pay attention and think about. A lot of movies back then like had that. Really, the only movie recently that was like that is like Interstellar.
Yeah,
where it's like
now you have to have time for people to text.
But nobody liked that because everybody thought it was too long or too boring because it actually had a concept that you had to use your brain and think about. And same with Tenet. As much as you didn't like Tenet, I mean,
I love Tenet.
That's something I was really like. I had to focus because I knew like I had to use my brain to watch this movie.
Yeah. Inception, like that's
but those movies don't. Thing. Yeah, Christopher Nolan's really the one like pumping those kind of movies out.
I will say though, Tenet had a passion behind it. As much as I didn't like some parts of it, I have to agree there.
Yeah. Can I don't know what.
Someone's trying to break in.
The whole studio's about to explode.
It's about to come down.
Someone's gonna break in the studio.
I thought Tenet was like one of his like out of those three, right? I thought that was the least confusing. Like I understood that easier.
No,
than Interstellar or Inception.
I thought, Inception I had to watch a few times.
Yeah.
That one I basically got the concept, but it was very hard when we watched in theaters. Like that very pivotal scene where you can't hear what the heck's going on. Like I'm like trying to figure out what they're saying. I'm like, is that just me? Like Am I not processing this right?
The sound design is kind of horrible. There's a lot of scenes.
I don't know how he let that go though.
There's a lot of scenes where they're on like the boat or whatever, and it's like I don't know what they're saying. I just hear water.
The only scene I really couldn't hear was when they're in that room. It's like a red room, red-blue room. Yeah. That's the only scene I really couldn't hear everything.
Yeah.
Maybe turn on subtitles next time we watch it.
But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I know. Whatever, Mac.
No. My problem with it. Is the fundamental like it couldn't change this or it would ruin the movie? Is that it just didn't have any character really?
Yeah, and I totally like it,
and that's my same problem with even a movie I like.
That's why I like it.
The Thing has no character.
Is that they decided to do something story driven instead of character driven?
That
like,
movie
concept driven, but if it's a good concept and a good story, then the characters are just tools to.
Not to get off topic, but
yeah.
Tenet, all the characters. All the characters really, they were nobodies in the grand scheme of what's going on. Like, who they are doesn't matter. They're all just tools for this bigger thing. We had to keep the world in order, basically, with their whole time travel thing. Like, they don't even exist. I don't even think. Like, they're not real people. Like, not like they don't like what you were saying. They're just kind of tools. Yeah. And I think it works because this is such a grand idea where if you went into the backstory of all these characters, it would take away from the story.
Yeah. Right. And
so, I know you don't care as much when the character is like gone, but it's not about the character.
Right.
That's why they didn't even give him a name. He's just the protagonist. Like,
yeah, and I think
I did like that.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about it is that there's an example of a movie that does something different.
Yes.
Right? Like,
that's why I liked it.
Give it a shot. Look for that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Do more of that, Hollywood.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah.
And get away from the Californias. Go to St. Pete, Florida.
Cool. You guys want to go see Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
Let's go watch.
I heard Tyler Perry's in that.
Is he in Paw Patrol?
No.
Yeah.
Is he actually?
So is Kim Kardashian.
Oh, he's probably the guy in the truck at the beginning.
Oh my God.
He's driving a
syrup tanker. Because he's the only black character in the whole movie.
Yeah.
He's driving a syrup tanker.
Oh my God.
Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now you know why movies suck.
Go check out Paw Patrol, only in theaters now.
Go watch something that you normally wouldn't watch.
Yes. Amen.
And tell us what you thought.